What's up, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Just did a video on Jermall Charlo. Now let's cover Jermall Charlo and his win against Sergiy Derevyanchenko, which was a great fight, very competitive fight, and a great performance. Excellent performance by Jermall Charlo. All right, he over exceeded my expectations. I picked him to win, but I wasn't too sure. I was very 50-50 with it. I knew how dangerous Sergiy Derevyanchenko was. He gives fighters a lot of problems, especially with his inside game. He gave Jermall some problems here in this fight. He gave him some problems. He got some rounds in there. I think I had it about 7-5, but they were pretty clear rounds for me for the most part. There was a couple swing rounds in there, but I saw it 7-5 Jermall Charlo. No more than that. I can't give Derevyanchenko more than 5 rounds. Even a couple of the rounds that I gave for Derevyanchenko, I thought they were swing rounds. All right, but it was a good fight. Covered it on here. Shout out to everybody that was on here during the live commentary that I did. All right, so let's talk about it. It was a lot of rounds that went back and forth, but Jermall really controlled it with his jab. I think the jab, just like Triple G, Jermall really controlled it with his jab. And I like the fact that for the most part, and especially in the rounds that he won, he wasn't so flat-footed, but he was throwing a lot of power with the jab. He wasn't throwing too many right hands, but it was the right hand. It was the uppercut, and he held his own on the inside, But everything he landed seemed like it had more of an effect than everything that Derevyanchenko landed. At the end of the fight, you see their faces. Derevyanchenko, he bruises up really, really bad. His face just doesn't hold up. He looked pretty banged up after the Triple G fight as well. Both fights, he suffered a cut above his right eye, I believe. And then his left eye was pretty much closed shut. I actually thought that a stoppage was coming because at some point in the fight, Derevyanchenko just couldn't see the right hands coming. And even though he was winning rounds here and there in the second half of the fight, it just wasn't looking as good as the rounds he won earlier in the fight. He was taking a lot of damage. Jermall definitely hit a lot harder than Derevyanchenko did. All right, and Jermall, even though he was losing the majority of the rounds where they were trading on the inside, he was able to hold his own, throw some shots and land some shots on the inside to the body and everything. So I was very impressed with that as well. Jermall looked great. I actually liked his performance against Derevyanchenko more than Daniel Jacobs' performance. I thought Jacobs was fighting a little too safe for the most part. I know he got a knockdown. I know he scored a knockdown early, but it was a flash knockdown. And he has moments in there where he did bang it out with Derevyanchenko, but for the most part, he fought a very safe fight. Triple G was definitely more on the attack, all right, and he was definitely more successful with his jab. But I think he struggled more when Derevyanchenko was on the inside. All right, I think he took. I thought he couldn't handle the body shots like the way Jermall did. I think Jermall did a better job dealing with the body shots and dealing with Derevyanchenko's inside game. Landing those uppercuts on the inside and timing them while he was stepping in and landing those shots. So it was good, very impressive. Derevyanchenko, he did some good things. It just wasn't enough, man. It wasn't enough. I don't know where he's going to go from here, but at this point, he's officially a gatekeeper, for anybody that's on the come up, trying to get a spot, trying to get closer to a championship fight. But I don't really see Derevyanchenko at a championship level. He's already lost to Triple G. He's lost to Jermall Charlo now. He's lost to Daniel Jacobs. I think if Demetrius Andrade were to fight him at this point, I think maybe before this fight would have been cool, but right now it really doesn't show anything. How many more times are top fighters going to keep beating up on Sergey? I think Jermall beating him in the way he beat him, I think it was enough for me to prove, like, all right, anyone that fights him at this point now, it's like, all right, we need the top guys to really fight the top guys. And let's get right into that, Now, when it comes to Jermall, listen, it was a good win. It was a great win. But there's still other fights I want to see. It's just that what fights can we actually get? What fights are realistic? You know, what are we going to really get? Is he going to fight Canelo? Is he going to fight Triple G? You know, is he going to fight Demetrius Andrade? You know, what fights are we going to actually get out of all this? We know he's a PBC fighter. Is he going to move up to 168? If he does have one, goes up to 168, there's some options up there. You know, you got David Benavidez, who's a PBC guy. You got Caleb Plant, who's also a PBC guy. All right? So is he going to fight one of those guys? What's going to happen here? I don't know. But if he chooses to stay at 160, let's be real. I don't see Triple G fighting. Triple G didn't fight him before when he moved up, when Jermall moved up to 160. I don't think he's going to fight him now. You know, I think at this point, Triple G is looking to do a mandatory fight and get one more fight in there with Canelo Alvarez. Get one more payday in there with him. And I think he's going to exit out of the sport. He's not fighting Jermall Charlo at this point. It's not going to happen. Would I love to see it? Yes. But I love it. And this is not who's better between the two video. Leave it at that. I know I respect what Triple G has done with the game. There's fights that I still wanted to see that I didn't get from him. But I respect him overall. I respect his career. He has a solid career. He did a lot of, he won titles. He's had defenses. He fought good fighters. There are some fights I wish I saw that I didn't get to see. But I'm not expecting him to fight Jermall Charlo. I'm not even expecting him to fight a Demetrius Andrade. Even though Andrade is over there on the zone and he's with Matchroom, I'm just not expecting a fight. Right? Canelo Alvarez. I think there's a 50-50 chance that fight happens. I wouldn't be surprised if he fights Canelo. I don't know if Canelo is going to fight him at 168 or 160, but if Canelo, I think Canelo could get around to getting to Jermall Charlo. I hope, they work everything out as far as finances. I think that would be the biggest issue. I don't think Canelo is scared of Jermall Charlo. I know a lot of people are going to run with that. I don't think he's scared of Jermall Charlo. I just think that the business aspect, the promoters and all that stuff, the network stuff will probably be an issue, But I don't think Canelo is scared of Jermall, at all. But I would love to see that fight, some people, I hear people say like, Jermall's not ready, Listen, Jermall doesn't have a better resume than Canelo. Like, let's be real. He doesn't have a better resume than Canelo. He doesn't. But saying that Jermall is not ready for Canelo is bullshit too. Like, just because you think Canelo will win the fight, like, I would have Canelo winning the fight. I would pick Canelo to win. If they actually scheduled a fight, I would pick Canelo to win that fight. I think Canelo's just overall, I think he just has a better skill set, a deeper skill set than Jermall. But it doesn't mean that Jermall is not ready to take the fight. He's definitely ready. He's definitely done enough to get that fight. Canelo has fought guys that are not as good as Jermall Charlo in recent years. So I would like to see that fight. I would like to see it. And I think it has more of a chance. I think we have zero chance of seeing a Triple G fight. But I think it's a 50-50 chance we might see a Jermall Charlo Canelo fight. What I do want to see is a Demetrius Andrade fight. I'm going to keep bringing it up. I know people want me to forget about it, but I'm not going to forget about it. I want to see that fight. I remember watching Jermall Charlo in an interview. I don't know where he's at. I believe the Boxing Voice was doing an interview with him, and he didn't seem to be really interested in a Demetrius Andrade fight at all, which kind of pissed me off because I really wanted to see it. And I've been wanting to see it. They have, Bad Blood, Andrade, and the Charlo twins. They have bad blood, but it doesn't seem like Jermall is really interested in fighting him, and Jermall is very comfortable with fighting with who he wants to fight. He's very comfortable about it, it's no shame at all. So I don't know if we're ever going to get that fight. I think Andrade did, I think part of it is his fault, especially if we're looking at the past. Andrade did mess some of that up. I made countless videos breaking that down with the whole Showtime thing, but that was like 4 or 5 years ago now. The whole Rock Nation thing, that was a long time ago. It's probably more than 5 years ago now, and I'm like, let's just get the fight, man. People want to see it. I would love to see that fight. I would love to see it. I love to see it. But Andrade, he has work to do because they need to get him in the ring with somebody at this point. You know, I know Billy Joe Saunders ruined that opportunity. That would have been a great fight. I think that would have been an even better win on Andrade's record if Andrade was to beat Saunders than the Derevyanchenko win. You know, but they didn't fight. Saunders tested dirty, and he moved up to 168. So I don't know if that fight is still in the air. I don't know what's going on with that. But Andrade needs to do something because at this point, he really doesn't have anybody on his resume. Jermall does have a better resume, both at 154 and at 160 now. You know, they both, you know, before it was like, Andrade didn't fight anyone really that good at 160. Charlo didn't fight anyone really that good at 160. But now Charlo has a solid win under his belt, you know. Where Andrade, I'm still waiting for something, you know. I mean, even though Billy Joe Saunders fight flopped, that didn't go as planned because of the bad testing. I still want to see Andrade fight someone good, you know. Meanwhile, Jermall has the better resume. He did more work at 154. He beat Austin Trout. He beat J-Rock, gave him his first L, and now he's beat Sergiy Derevyanchenko. I respect all of those wins, whereas Andrade, I think his best win still today probably was undefeated Vanes Monterosian. You know, I got to see Selecki was a good win at 160. That was probably his best win at 160. But that's not something to brag about, you know. It was a good win. It was a good win. But that's not something that I'm going to brag, you know. I think beating Derevyanchenko was a bigger win than that. All right, so Jermall, as far as the options, Triple G, probably not. Would love to see it. It's not going to happen. Canelo, 50-50. Would love to see that happen. Andrade, definitely love that fight. Who else is out there? I'm cool with a Murata fight. You know, that would be a good fight for Jermall Charlo. Murata is a good fight. Who else is there? Eubank Jr., that's a good fight. You know, I know they were talking about that before. Eubank Jr. actually fought on the undercard of Jermall Charlo against Dennis Hogan. So, you know, I was there for that fight. I'm cool with that fight, too. That's a good fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that fight, Eubank Jr. against Jermall Charlo. I would like that one. Those are other fights that I think Jermall should try to go after while he's at 160. But if he's going to move up to 168, again, you have Plant up there. You have Canelo up there. He's still hanging around at 168. You got Benavidez up there. And you also got Daniel Jacobs up there, which is another fight I really want to see. I really want to see because of that hallway incident they had when they was going back and forth. I want to see that fight, especially because now they have a fighter in common that they both beat. But I think Jermall did better in that fight. All right. So all of these fights are cool. All of these options are cool. Jermall just proved to me overall, and I'm going to end it with this. Jermall has proven to me that when he fights top competition, he steps up. He steps up. You know, he stepped up against J-Rock. That was his best fight at 154. He stepped up against Derevyanchenko. Whenever he steps up, he performs much better. I think when he fights the Brandon Adams of the world, the Dennis Hogans of the world, you know, guys like that where we know he's just going to beat, you know, he doesn't always look that impressive. But when he steps up, he really steps up, you know. So, Jermall Charlo, congratulations. And I'm going to do a video comparing the two twins. I've never done that before. But being that they've had so much success, and they've, you know, Charlo has won titles in 2 divisions now. Jermall Charlo, 2 divisions. Jermall has unified 3 of the 4 major titles, and he is the lineal champion at 154. A lot of accomplishments. Both have good fighters, good names under their belt. I want to do a video comparing the two. And as far as who's a Charlo, only reason why I want to do who's the better Charlo is because I've seen people asking me that in the comments on my live chat yesterday and in some of my other Charlo breakdown videos, stuff like that, double headers. I've seen people ask me that, and I think now, since I feel like they're both at the peak of their game, I want to compare the two and tell you overall who I think. This is not no, you know, trying to get a rift between the twins. I like both of the twins. Those are my guys. But I do want to do a video just comparing the two because there's a lot of difference between the two, even though, you know, the twins and everything, they fight completely different. All right. So I'm going to do a video on that. Be on the lookout on that. And I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Peace.